This is video 10, and we're going to look at pollution in the ocean. And when we did our Exploring the Ocean web quest a couple of weeks ago, one of the first things we saw was that plastic is the leading cause of pollution in the ocean. And we're going to pause here and watch a little video about ocean pollution, and then we're going to talk specifically about some of the different types of pollution. So human activity does create problems in the ocean. And if you remember from the River Runs Through It lab and the Whole Effect lab, they talked about the estuary where humans had dumped things overboard. And so human activity on the water creates about 20% of our pollutants. So that would be boating and cruise ships and that type of thing. Cruise ships account for a lot of that, and they account for primarily the gray water. They're out at sea for a while. They've got a lot of people on there that are taking showers, using the bathroom. There's a lot of cooking going on, and all of those are going to create some wastewater, and that is known as gray water. And they also have gray water comes from the actual mechanics of the ship. The bilge water down in the engine room would include leaking oil and diesel fuel and other chemical pollutants. And so that bilge water is constantly pumped as well. So that goes back into the ocean. Litter, people leaving stuff out on the beach or throwing it overboard can endanger marine wildlife as well. You can see this pelican, and if you know anything about pelicans, they fly, they dive down to the surface and scoop up the mouth, it's a bucket shape, full of water, and then they proceed to filter out the water and swallow the food. And this one has died from starvation. Its entire digestive tract is full of trash. And as it has decomposed, you can see the trash under the skeleton. Couldn't digest it. Estimates include that 100,000 marine mammals die a year from litter, that there's 1 million deaths per year for seabirds, and seabirds, six-pack rings used to be a leading cause of their death, as again they would dive down to catch fish and get caught in the rings around their neck and literally get choked. Also, again, swallowing plastic, it does not digest, and so it just stays into the digestive system and literally stops it up. And then 3 to 4 million deaths a year of fish. Plastic pollution can also cause, not only does it block the digestive system, but it can act as can be inflated. So if it's like a plastic bag or anything that can hold air, it can interfere with the swim bladder and the ability of the organism to be able to go up and down in the water column. And that's particularly problematic for sea turtles. Fishing line, six-pack rings are some of the plastic pollution that gets thrown overboard. Abandoned traps, that's called ghost fishing, when a fisherman leaves hooks and traps behind, and marine mammals can get caught in those and can't get back to shore. There was a video on television this weekend about a giant whale off the coast of California who was tangled in more than 100-foot fishing line. It was wrapped around its back fluke and up around its neck, and they spent hours upon hours trying to cut it away, and it was very dangerous because the whale was trying to get free, and you've got this many-tonned animal and human divers out there trying to get it free. But it's trapping it. In this case, it was trapping the animal on the surface, not allowing it to dive. So where is it going to find its food? Probably in deeper waters than at the surface. Fishing line and six-pack rings, again, with fish, it can get catching their gills. And becomes a problem. I will say that sea turtles' favorite food are jellyfish, and their eyesight's not that great, so floating plastic bags in the water look a lot like a floating jellyfish, and many sea turtles that have been found dead have these inflated bags in their stomach. Another major issue in our oceans is the warming of the oceans that's due to the excess CO2. The ocean is the greatest reserve of carbon dioxide anyway, and with excess CO2 in the atmosphere, it is changing the chemistry of the seawater. And it's causing something called ocean acidification. When there's this excess CO2, it's reacting with the ocean water and producing carbonic acid. And it's expected that as the ocean becomes more and more acidic, it's going to wipe out several species, which if you ever remove a species from the food chain and the food web, you're going to disrupt and upset lots of populations. That will therefore impact fishing, tourism, and other water activities. It's happening pretty fast. Over the last 250 years, the oceans have absorbed 530 billion tons of carbon dioxide, and that is a 20% increase in how acidic the ocean is right now. Researchers predict that if we continue to put carbon dioxide into the atmosphere at the rate we're doing, the acidity of the ocean will double by 2100, which is not that far away. The polar regions will experience changes first, because that's where a lot of the melting is occurring and the big temperature changes are occurring. Coral reefs are already experiencing this, and there are many areas of the world's oceans where the corals are dying due to the acidity in the water, and they're literally getting bleached out. And I've got a clip I'm going to show you from 60 Minutes about the corals.